Herc, you and I have been arguing a lot of late about Carlos Vela, so I thought who better to bring in and give us kind of an even keel, honest perspective on the Mexican superstar than our good friend and colleague, Craig Burley from ESPN FC. Craig, how you doing?
You two boys, but I'm well. Is everybody keeping safe and well with the trials and tribulations
Yes,
that
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's facing at the moment? It's difficult, trying times. We're all doing our best to get on with it. We're doing our best to try and keep some content going as well. Other people just trying their best to keep themselves alive. But the one thing that's been a constant in all this, that you two are still arguing with each other. Where's the love? Where's the love?
That went out the window. Have you ever spent more than an hour with Sebastian Salazar? You know how those are trials in themselves. And listen, when it comes to the Mexican national team, anybody involved, you don't want to be around this. You do not want to be around this, Craig.
Okay, well, listen, let's get to why we came here, all right? On the cover, now, Craig, I know you're a subscriber. Maybe the latest edition hasn't got to you. GQ Mexico. Carlos Vela is on the cover. And in the cover article, we get some kind of breaking news that last year's loan deal between LAFC and Barcelona was basically agreed to by all parties except for LAFC. They held up the deal. Before we get into whether that was right or that was wrong, I know Herc thinks Carlos Vela walks on water. Craig, what impact would Carlos Vela have actually had at Barcelona last year?
Well, how long's a piece of string? I don't know. I mean, clearly he's a good player. There's no doubt about that. But it was potentially a great opportunity for a guy to go back to a country where he played before, but maybe, well, we certainly didn't see the best of him in his time in Spain. So that would have been a great opportunity. Listen, let me tell you something. And I understand his bread and butter is LAFC and has been, and he's done a particularly good job for them. But if I'd have been a player and Barcelona had come calling, I can't swear on this, can I? No, I can't swear, but I would have been extremely annoyed if I missed out on that opportunity. Can you imagine Real Madrid, Barcelona, the giants of world football? You're playing and plying your trade in Major League Soccer, which is improving, and we understand that, and the stadiums are great, but this is a kind of once-in-a-lifetime chance, and I would have been peeved, and I'm trying to keep it nice, if I had been Carlos Vela. But I can understand, and I'm not, this is not my sitting on the fence period where I say I can see it from both sides. But actually, Sebi, this is actually a time when you can see it from both sides, because the player would want to move, guaranteed, but the club would be intent on keeping their biggest asset. So it's a real difficult scenario here.
For what? 4 months, Herc? For 4 months, the LAFC couldn't have let this guy go?
Yeah, listen, he said it very, very eloquently there. Everybody's got their own interest, right? If you're Carlos Vela, especially seeing who did go there, it's Prince Boateng. I'd be upset if I saw that it's him going there and those 4 months and the result that was Prince Boateng's Barcelona career with just 3 games played. You're playing some of the best football in your life. You're obviously revitalized with what's going on at LAFC. You've come off a good season. Barcelona, you're in their radar. I'd want to go as well. But if you're LAFC, it's not just letting your player go. It's having the insurance of the loan deal. It's securing maybe your future interest. And I'm sure the hang-up wasn't necessarily them not allowing him to go. It could have been something so minute as we want a game for Barcelona in our stadium at LAFC Bank of California. We want these certain guarantees. And Barcelona maybe couldn't have guaranteed that. All parties have to come to an agreement. That's what makes a loan a deal.
Do you know what else, Herc? Do you know what else? And I don't know if you guys agree, but I'm going to give, I think, this whole Zlatan, Carlos Vela thing, the goal-scoring sort of phenomenon that the two of them were, was a little easier because of where they were playing. But still, you can't take that away from them. What I would say is, there's a lot of players, and I'm going to give a Mexican player a lot of love here, Seb Salazar, and you're going to love this, is that what I would say, he didn't let that show within his game. I mean, you guys see more of it than me. But he, from the outside, he didn't look as if he was sulking to me. And I think it would have been really easy to sulk. I know I would have sulked.
You got better, Craig. 34 goals and 15 assists that season.
Yeah. So he I mean, that's testament to the professionalism. I think that, look, here was an opportunity, potentially, if the story's correct, to go to Barcelona. Here was his club, his paymasters, who were saying, well, no, actually, we need you here because we have a project. But yet the guy still went out on a weekend or whenever it was and produced the goods. That, folks, is a very good professional, and it's way more professional in the circumstances than
Sebi Salazar doesn't want to. He doesn't want to hear this. He doesn't want to hear Carlos Vela is a good professional. Craig, look at him fuming. He's fuming right now.
Look, maybe it's great for LAFC. It's obviously a missed opportunity for Carlos Vela. Herc, what about a missed opportunity for Major League Soccer? Wouldn't it have been better for the league to have this guy doing it in Barcelona and then coming back? And I'll remind you on top of that, LAFC is part of Major League Soccer. And Major League Soccer is single entity. What's good for all is good for one, no?
I would argue yes, but we've seen this before. David Beckham with Milan and with PSG. Do you remember what happened the first go around? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, they let him go. What
happened?
He got injured. Okay. He got injured.
Yeah, and where did he get injured? A torn Achilles, and now you have it, and he was past his prime. You have a player in their prime. Major League Soccer has their own interests, and LAFC has their own interests. They have to do what's best for the club. So I can 100% see the dissatisfaction with player and with fans in general because it's a lost opportunity. This is Barcelona. And I reiterate, Prince Boateng didn't have the greatest go. That could have been Carlos Vela, and maybe that could have been different.
Craig, Herc will never call LAFC selfish because he doesn't want to offend his good friend and his neighbor out there, Bob Bradley. Will you say LAFC was selfish for keeping Carlos Vela and not letting him go to Barcelona?
Are you still biting on the bait that is Bob Bradley?
He still is. Get lost, Evie.
After all this time, you need to get Bob Bradley out of your mind. But
what did keeping Vela get Bob Bradley? Did they win anything? Anything?
Listen. I'm going to rise above that because we know he didn't win anything. But listen, it happens. You know, it happens. They lost the semi-final. It happens. It works two ways though, because you know, he could have gone to Barcelona, wherever it is, and he could have had a shocker and he could have had a stinker, and people would have been saying,
it's true.
And you know, and then a lot of people would have been upset by saying, well, you're just saying because Carlos Vela went to X, Y, and Z and he couldn't play, the Major League Soccer's not very good. And so it kind of swings in roundabouts because we know that's necessarily not true, but it does swing in roundabouts. But what, as you say, what's good for everybody's good for one. Why don't you just let them all go? Yeah, you want to go to the Bundesliga? Yeah, you go. You want to go to Liga MLS? Yeah, you go. You want to go to Spain? Yeah, you go. There'd be nobody left in MLS if that was the case. So sometimes a club has to put their foot down and say no. And unfortunately, from a player's perspective, that can happen.
Herc, I know you and I have very different perspectives on Carlos Vela, but I'll ask you the same question that I asked Craig earlier. What impact do you think he actually would have had on that Barcelona team last year? Keep in mind, Coutinho, Dembele, like those are the guys he's competing with for playing time in this theoretical.
Was Coutinho still there? Was he still there?
Last year.
Okay. Coutinho, okay. Yeah, Dembele, he's never been on the field. He's just not healthy enough to stay on the field. So Carlos Vela.
Carlos Vela is better than Dembele and Coutinho now.
But I'm telling you, if they don't get on the field, they can't prove how good they are. So it doesn't matter. And the one thing I will tell you, and we're seeing it now, is they're in need of that second, or I should say that second striker behind Luis Suarez. You look at the injury and how it's caused them to make shift positions and what it's caused. Carlos Vela is a very good player. Carlos Vela is one of these players that just gets what it's like to play on a team like Barcelona. That's his style. That's his type of play. I have no doubt he would have done well there. Now, to the extent of it, well, that's a different story. But Craig's 100% when he says, what if he doesn't do well? What if he does so horribly wrong that now the onus is on MLS and the level? Maybe sometimes these things work out for the best. Carlos Vela stayed in Major League Soccer, had a ridiculous year, 34 goals, 15 assists, voted the team or league MVP, broke records, and we had the great Carlos Vela versus Zlatan story.
You know, there's two things. Listen, shut up, Salazar. Shut up. you know, there's two words. There's two words that really annoy me at the moment, and it's not Seb Salazar, and I know it's Carlos Vela. I'm Carlos Vela now. I feel that you've.
I'm with you. Finally, somebody agrees with me. Carlos Vela out. Look,
ask me other questions.
Lots of questions about what Vela might have been at Barcelona, but thanks to LAFC, Herc, we'll never know.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.